everyone. It's another version. It's not another version. It's another episode of Cocktails and Conversations with the DogMistress. I'm here with my amazing friends. So we're doing a little test today. We're going to see how it goes with the couple. And so if I was going to invite any couple to do a test run of everything, it would have to be my good friend Jeneva and her husband Rich. And so I may slip up and call her JJ. That was from another life. And so if that's the case, that's what I know her by. And so these are some really amazing people. And, we're always talking about great people in Columbia that you should get to know. And so we're also going to get, a little lovey. We're going to talk about, their love story and all that kind of crap. So if Hallmark Channel appeals to you, then, we might have a wisp of that in there just for those folks who are definitely sending me all the notes about how, the show is not nearly as romantic enough.
Okay, well, we can work on that.
We'll romanticize it.
So, tell me about what do you really love about Columbia?
Go ahead.
Well, I've lived here since 1989. Came up here for school. Never really left. So really for me, Columbia's home. I love mid-Missouri. I love the energy of the college town. And I'm a Stevens alum, but I also went to Marching Mizzou, or was in Marching Mizzou, so I was both dual enrolled, and now I'm a student over at Winning Woods over in Fulton. So I've had my fair share of taste of college life. I actually worked at Mizzou for several years. And so being in all the energy with all the students is always wonderful. Right after school, I got involved in politics, and so Jeff City is only a half an hour away, and that was very convenient to explore that side of my career as well. So kind of keeping it all in the mid-Missouri area for the last 20 plus years. I think it's a great mix between the energy of school and all the youth, and then also the drama and the policies and the decisions that are being made just half an hour south of here that affect all of our lives. So it's kind of a neat kind of blend.
Okay. We'll need this.
He's a St. Louis boy. This is not his
So, I came to Columbia to marry a girl. Literally on my way to London, met Geneva, I'm here in Columbia. For 20 years, I promised myself I would never step foot in Columbia. And I need to explain why. My little brother went to Mizzou, and when he was in Mizzou, I went to Washington University. He thought I didn't have a real college experience, so every gift was black and gold. Black and gold sheets, black and gold jammies, black and gold sweatshirts, black and gold hoodies, everything. So I swore I would never come here. But I'm glad I did, and not just for her. The city it's kind of artistic. I love that we have True Falls Film Festival. The food for this city is actually pretty good, and that's my profession, so the food's actually pretty good here. The people are genuinely what you would expect out of the Midwest, just kind of salt of the earth and wholesome. And then, he's kind of right. I mean, I did kind of miss parts of a college experience, and I like going and tailgating and spend it. It's a mixed blessing having students around all the time.
I would agree with that statement wholeheartedly, and I work at the university, so I can appreciate that. I also appreciate when there's a break.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Getting around town is nice.
It is nice. So this will be definitely a question you each have to answer. Who has been a big influence on you?
There was a professor at Washington University named Peter Riesenberg, and another professor, George Pepe. They both were at the same time. And they basically took a kid who was too smart for his own good, totally unmotivated, didn't want to do anything, didn't want to be in class other than to disrupt it, and they gave me a challenge. And that challenge was I could get an A in the class if I would only beat one of them in handball. Well, when a 50-year-old suggests to an 18-year-old a handball game, it's rigged. The guy was a college champion. So literally I wound up having to write a book, write articles, take mostly graduate courses, any Nobel laureate, any National Academy winner, those were the courses I took, whether I had the prerequisites or not, didn't really matter to them. It was the best education I could have ever had. I'm eternally grateful. I used classes and skills I never would have taken or even thought of on account of it. And they were right. I was pretty much a bonehead until that point. Got me motivated.
I guess I go back to college, and there's some faculty there that were really important and impressed on me. But I think the most important thing was right before I graduated, I met Judith Whitcomb, and she was working on women's health issues and public policy down in Jeff City, which really altered the course of my career. Up until that point, I was planning to go to Chicago and work for Marshall Fields or Carson Perry Scott. I had won visual merchandising competitions and the Kansas City Fashion Group marketing plans and competed against people all over the Midwest, and I was on my way to becoming a visual merchandiser. That was my ultimate goal, to work in kind of the creative fashion and marketing fields, and had excelled all the way up to that point, ready to go. And about a month before I graduated, I had to take a women's studies class in order to get my prerequisites in order to graduate, or to meet all my requirements to graduate. And so I took a women's health and public policy class because I had debated all through high school. And I thought, well, if they're going to try to cram some kind of policy down my throat that I don't necessarily agree with, I can at least argue and it'll be part of the class and it'll be okay. And they ended up bringing in all of these wonderful role models, alumni, friends of alumni, who were in women's health fields. And when Judith came in, I call it the closest thing to what I think a calling would feel like, like God has called me to preach. I felt when I saw Judith and heard her speak, I just looked at the professor at the end of the class and I said, I have to go work for her. I have to. And I ended up getting an internship with her for about 6 months or so, and unpaid. And at some point she got, I guess, the feeling that she needed to pay me something and started to pay me and a little bit. And then that ended up becoming a full-time job. So she paid me part-time and then ended up saying, quit the job in Columbia, come down here and do policy. And I essentially worked myself into a position. And because of her, I have a huge network of women in policy all throughout state government, in every bureaucratic office, in every branch, so executive, judicial, and legislative.
Whatever you do, you've got to find a mentor. And I think it's much easier to do so in an educational setting, whether that be a trade school or a traditional university.